Hey guys, welcome to a discussion on Soulful Selling Bootcamp. How are you guys? Joining? Let me find a good place for this today. How is everybody? Where are you guys? I'm having this thing, I had this yesterday where I can't see who is coming in and I don't see some of the chat. So tell me who you are, say hi, great to see you. I had a very interesting discussion yesterday with my sister who works professionally in sales, and we were talking about one of the big things no one talks about or no one helps with is sales management, and everyone hates sales managers, and sometimes it's with good reason. I've been a sales manager, and I tried to be a little bit different than other people, but yeah, so I wanted to talk about sales management today and some tips on that we can give to other sales managers, or tips you can give to your own sales manager, about how to be a more soulful seller. So I'm Christine Pereira. I'm from Soulful Selling Bootcamp. We try to empower everyone to sell authentically and to teach people to not be scared of selling. A lot of people want to run away and hide and not talk about sales when it comes to their business, but it is usually a core part of your business. I'm trying to think of a business that doesn't require selling. If you have that kind of business, good for you. But most people require some kind of sales with their product or their service. So, you might be doing that yourself. And once, your business is kind of successful, you might have to start managing people. And the tricky part about sales management is that a lot of sales managers are great salespeople, but never get management training. So it's really not their fault that they're not very good or they don't empower people because they've never been trained to do that. And it's very tricky. And I think one of the biggest complaints that professional salespeople have is their sales manager. I know that was probably one of my biggest complaints. And here's why I think that's what I think the problem is, and I was talking about this yesterday, is I think a lot of sales managers manage with fear, right? And I don't think that's effective. Most people are not motivated by fear. I just read an article the other day that talked about how people are motivated to work, and a lot of times they are motivated just by helping other people, and it's not even necessarily being paid. So I think that there are a lot of sales managers out there who manage with fear, whether that's fear of losing your job, whether that's fear of, not making a specific goal that was set. Whatever it is, managing with fear tends to not be very effective. It scares people. It doesn't really empower them, right? And you're coming from a place where it doesn't make you very happy. And that's the easiest and the quickest way to burn out a salesperson, especially a great salesperson, is make them scared all the time, make them, dislike their sales manager and dislike their job. So let me tell you about another way to manage salespeople. And this is a way that I always manage them. I really tried to do the opposite of fear, and that was really to empower the people that worked for me. So I would always tell them, I really see, even though I technically, you might work for me, in my mind, I work for you, right? I empower you to do everything that you need to do your job, and my job is to help you get everything done. And all I need you to do as a sales professional is to communicate to me when you need help. If that's that you need help with training, or you need help with understanding the product or service better, you need basic sales training, whatever it is, your job is to communicate that to me. Hi, Rosalie. Thanks for joining. We're talking about sales managers and how a lot of us don't like them and what we can do to help them, because a lot of them do need help. I was talking about a conversation that I had yesterday where, I think of this as a very old school management style, but a lot of people are still doing this, and they're managing their salespeople with fear. Which is not a positive way to manage people, no matter what business you're in, right? To threaten them with their job or, with a loss of income is not something that's usually going to motivate people. It might give you short-term success, but long-term, that salesperson is not going to be happy. They're going to be very burned out. They're not going to like you, which a lot of times actually makes them less productive. A lot of people, thank you for the hearts. Thank you so much. And you know what? Please feel free to share this Periscope by swiping right on iPhone and up on Android. I always forget. But feel free to share with others, and thank you for the hearts. But yeah, a lot of people will say, well, I don't need my salespeople to like me. Well, people work harder for people that they like, and they don't have to be your best friend, but they should at least respect you and, you know, like you, not hate you, I would say, is going to be a more effective way to manage them. Because it's the same with customers. Customers buy from people that they like. They do not buy from people that they hate, right? It seems like kind of common sense. And one of the best books, actually, let me go find this. I don't want to rip my microphone off. Hold on. I just got this book for someone. Oh, that's not it. Here it is. Okay. Let me put my mic back on. The 5 Languages of Appreciation in the Workplace. And I love this book because it talks about, you know, different people's style and how they like to be appreciated. And there's a bunch of different styles, but when you read it, you'll know which one is for you. Let me tell you what they are really quick. There's a table of contents. Okay, of course they're not. Okay, here we go. So here's the 5 ways you can appreciate someone. And then this is by Gary Chapman and Paul White, by the way. I just want to give them credit. Words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, tangible gifts, so that could be like financial bonuses, physical touch. Those are the 5. No, yes, 5. Okay, so mine is words of affirmation. I would much rather someone tell me that they really appreciated my work than I get a financial bonus. And that's just me, right? Everybody's different. So a great thing for sales managers to do is to understand the people that work for them and what motivates them. Because one person, it might be money. For another person, it might be simple appreciation and taking the time to spend with them. Or actually, that's another one. Quality time is another one. Bring them out to lunch and tell them what a great job they're doing and how valuable they are for their team. Because sales managers do not have a good rap, and it's because a lot of them are not empowering their salespeople. And, you know, it's just something to think about. If you're a sales professional, I would love to hear about your experience with sales managers and who you think was like the best boss you had and the least good boss that you've had. And I'm trying to think of mine, and I don't have that many great ones, but I have a lot of bad stories, but I don't know if I should share them right now. That would be a whole nother Periscope. But I do think, you know, when I see people managing with fear, a lot of times I see that in new managers or like somewhat immature, younger managers. And because that's what they've seen other people do to them, which is really a shame because if everybody got some kind of sales training and sales management training, I think they would quickly realize that's not effective. I mean, managing with fear is just not an effective management style. And like I was saying before, I think short-term it might work, long-term not very effective. And if you guys just joined me, I am Christine Pereira from Soulful Selling Bootcamp. You can find out more about me online at my website, soulfulsellingbootcamp.com, or my Facebook page, which is also Soulful Selling Bootcamp. And my aim is really to empower everyone to sell with confidence and authenticity and to find your own sales style. I think confidence is something that's so important and is core to sales, and so many sales trainings that I see out there focus a lot on the interaction with the customer and on, you know, negotiating and how to get a meeting and how to deal with like how your potential customer behaves. But I don't see a lot of people talking about how to give confidence to the salespeople before they even get there and what they can do to build that confidence and how important it is. And I think, you know, that is one of the cornerstones of sales. And I think a lot of that comes from being authentic. And that's why I call it Soulful Selling Bootcamp. Because everyone has a different sales style. Not one style is not better than the other. But what I find is a lot of people feel like they have to be a certain style. They have to be that super chit-chatty salesperson, maybe like put a little pressure, be a little bit more difficult. And this is what I was talking to my sister about yesterday because she's a sales manager. She felt like she always had pressure to be a little bit mean and more demanding of her salespeople. And what she learned was she was not doing that, and she felt like she was doing something wrong. But she found that she was actually great, and the people who worked for her liked her and were very productive because they trusted her. So I think the same sales techniques of being authentic go for sales managers as well, right? Because really we're all selling every day in all of our interactions and all of the communications we have with other people every day, right? So you as a sales manager are really selling yourself to the person working for you, and vice versa. That person is selling themselves to you. So selling really is just the way you're presenting yourself. So being authentic in that communication is so important because it's just going to build up trust. It's going to build up confidence. People are going to work harder for you. I think your salespeople are going to work harder, and I think all of that is a win-win at the end of the day. And that's what I try to teach everyone, is how to be authentic, feel comfortable with sales, not be scared of it, because it's not scary. And most of the people that I meet who are scared of sales really just have like a misconception about what they have to do for sales, or they have a misunderstanding of a sales process. And I always say the three biggest things in sales are confidence, trust, and understanding of the sales process. So confidence is confidence in yourself. I obviously think that's super, super important, and something that a lot of people don't talk about. Trust is the trust that you build with your prospective customer. And I do think a lot of sales training kind of just focuses on that. And then the sales process, and this is really for non-sales professionals. I think a lot of, I saw actually a really interesting video on this where they were saying, like, don't try to close on the first, they didn't call it interaction, but it was like you really can't try to close a sale like the first time you talk to someone. I mean, I'm sure that there's some people who do, but usually there's a lot of awareness about them in the marketplace. But the reality is, to close any sale, you need to have 4 to 6 quality interactions with a person or a company. So that could be an in-person conversation, that can be a phone call. Usually in the beginning, it's something like that. It could be, you know, a Facebook post or a piece of content. It could be a Periscope. It could, you know, it could be a lot of different things, right? But you do need to touch that person several times, communication-wise, before you should feel ready to ask them for a sale. And you should really know. You should not be asking someone for a sale until you feel pretty confident the answer is yes. And if you don't know that, then you are probably not ready yet. So that's another thing to keep in mind. But I think for people who are not professional salespeople, understanding of the basic sales process, when to ask, how to build up that confidence, like how to follow up, all of those things are super important. And that's what I teach as well. You know, I always say the biggest mistake most people make in sales is not following up. And I see that with professional sales who have been in sales for years. I see that with new people. And sometimes it's just like they don't understand that there's an expectation there. And sometimes it's just people are, you know, not wanting to do the work. And whenever you want to be successful in any job, you really have to put in the time and put in the work. And that's what the sales process is. The sales process is the non-fun side of sales. It's the reality. And being aware of that and having realistic expectations is probably the most important part. So if you guys have any other questions, let me know. Thank you guys so much for joining. I really appreciate it. And you can always see my replays on YouTube as well. If you go to Soulful Selling Bootcamp on YouTube, I put all of my old Periscopes up there, even though it looks like I'm talking to no one because it doesn't show like the little chats and hearts. It's still all the valuable content. So thank you guys so much for joining. Have a great Labor Day weekend.